color commentator and interviewer extraordinaire. And I just want to remind everyone, you can watch all our shows, including all the ones with Dr. Barb, on Vimeo, YouTube, on our on-demand section at www.brokersalliance.com, on the Insurance Newsnet, the Agent Navigator. We're everywhere you want to be, including all our social networks, Facebook, LinkedIn, oh my gosh, we're twitting, and on the Insurance Forum where I blog. Remember, I'm not a tax or legal advisor, although we're not talking much about that today, are we?
No, not today.
But of course, if you hear anything that even sounds like that, just go ahead and check with your CPA and attorney. And if you're a securities FINRA licensed person, always check with your broker dealer's compliance officer before moving forward with any strategy we talk about. Although, I think these strategies are somewhat benign to the code, but not to selling. Well, let's just do our top 10 list here. Barb, where's your top 10 here?
Right here.
All right. Let's just go right down number 10, and you're on page 20, so I want to get on the same page here. So, number 1, top 10 tips for dialogue, right?
Okay.
All right, now I'm afraid. I'm holding Barb's hand. Go ahead, number 1.
Number 1 is you are your product. So what does that mean? It means when you show up, you need to be on time, primed, ready to go, ready to serve your customer. You are selling your product.
I'm not selling a product, I'm selling me.
You're selling you. Mm-hmm.
And are you going to reconfigure the product so that we can talk to women?
Yes.
Are you going to relabel our personalities?
I'm going to try.
We're going to have to do a workshop with Dr. Barb.
Yes.
And we're going to all walk into the alien nation, the estrogen zone. It'll be huge.
Yes.
Okay. Number 2.
You need to acknowledge women in the sales process. So that means look them in the eye, ask them what they'd like to be called.
So are we doing this from now on? Okay.
Right. Yeah, so make sure that you acknowledge them.
Eye contact.
Eye contact.
Acknowledge. Ask how do they want to be addressed.
Yes.
At the front end, because
exactly.
we just met. What about touch? Some people are, it is good, how warm, handshake.
A handshake is always nice. If you're going to shake the man's hand, absolutely shake the woman's hand. Oftentimes, men will shake men's hands and not shake the woman's hands.
So how does that make her feel?
She's not part of the calculation.
Left out too?
Sure.
Okay. Number 3. Oh, number 3. Actually, number 3 should have been number 1.
Well,
right?
they're all important.
They're all important. Okay, go ahead.
Listen. I can't say that enough. So listening doesn't mean that you just be quiet while I speak.
But it's so painful.
You're not listening to me.
I did that on purpose. I was just doing a role play.
It means listening, and looking in their eyes, and maybe making some notes of the way that they're using their words and what they're saying. Giving them enough space to think about what they're saying and then reiterating that back to them. Take a pause.
Words are important?
Very important.
So how she's expressing herself is a whole new, I think that's another workshop. We should just do a whole thing on, here's what they're saying. Did you get what she's saying? Did you interpret it?
And part of it is just using the same words back, not trying to recreate the way that you understand it, but really using the words that she's using right back with her.
Well, that's kind of your number 4. You're heading to number 4.
Right.
So the number 4 is?
Repeat the words that she is using. Write them down if necessary.
Is that like mirroring?
In a way, yes, it is.
Okay. Well, give me an example. Give me something and I'll kick it back.
Well, for instance, if you're talking about life insurance, a woman might say, I'm hoping that my kids can go to college someday if anything were to happen.
Well, we'll do things to make sure that your dreams of your kids going to college will happen.
Yeah. So what you're telling me exactly what I want to hear. It's what I just told you. So yeah, exactly that.
I think I can do that. That's one of the 4 I can do. Okay, one of 4.
I'm sure you can do that.
All right, number 5.
Checking in with her during the conversation, like we've talked about before. So often, salespeople will get down their sales process because their end goal is to get through their sales process and get to that close. However, women do not follow that exact same path. They take a lot of different side paths or side thoughts that they're thinking about. So you have to make sure you check in with her during the conversation.
Give me an example of check in.
Well, you might be at a place in the conversation where you're explaining part of a policy, let's say, and you might say, is this information important to you? Is this answering any of concerns you might have, or is there something else that you'd rather talk about at this point? And then she might say, that's way too detailed for me. What's really burning for me are these other issues.
Do you think it's better to go topical first in your explanation of what you're selling, and then say, at any time, if you want me to stop and break it out or unbundle a certain aspect that's important to you, I'm wondering if I can set the tone up front.
Absolutely, you can do that, but I still think you need to check in so that you're still allowing, opening, giving that air of comfort that in a conversation where it can be very complex, the information that you're talking about, again, you talk about it every day, people you're selling to do not talk about this every day, you're giving them the opportunity to ask questions and get explanations, get the information they need to make a good decision.
This is going to be painful for guys because we got a lot of guys that are monologuers.
Yeah.
Right? And we're also, even in seminar land and webinars, we're so used to taking Q&A at the end. Wait till I'm finished.
No.
Right? But you're saying no. We should take those as they come, answer them. When you answer it correctly, now they're being more open to the next segment that you're talking about.
Right.
I love that. That's another seminar.
Yes.
Right there. Number 6.
Ask good, open-ended questions.
Now that's painful for me, open-ended questions. I mean, when you say open-ended questions, I was like, well, but it could go on forever then. Or
It could. And then what you need to do is you need to sit back and you need to listen. You need to look at look at them in the eyes and listen. Be fully present. You might be asking some very important and critical information, especially when you're talking about life insurance. What's important to you in your life? You know, what do you want to leave for your children, for your family, for your grandchildren? You need to hear what their wants and wishes are and their desires and make sure that that's on the table.
I'm trying to put that on the same level, Dr. Barb, as Steve quantifying the amount of insurance for the coverage of the obvious estate planning, taxes, right? Last medical expenses, any other financial issues that I want to cover off, and always leaving off the table. I think this way, and never bring up to the issue of, oh, are there other issues? Like I was thinking the other day with this guy. I said, he says, well, what else should I plan for? I said, well, you have 3 daughters, so you're going to be in hock for the next 3. You're going to be in hock because you have to pay their not only their education, more unless something changes in our culture, you're going to have to pay for their weddings.
Right.
Right, and that's not cheap. And
right.
I should know.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, we're not doing it. It's like closing a person on a retirement plan. Says, I close your retirement, you have plenty of money. Yes, he's thinking I have plenty of money. She's thinking to do what?
Yeah.
So just a thought. Number 7.
Number 7 is offer appropriate policies or decisions or solutions that address her concerns. So don't go in there with a preemptive, what you need to sell that day. Make sure that you're really listening to what they need and make sure that you're solving their problem.
Do they want to be told this is the answer, or do they want to have optional answers?
I think they would like options, but not too many options, so don't overcomplicate it. You might say, we have these 3 that might fit your needs, and let me explain to you why.
Here are your 3 options. Which one do you think would work good for you?
Right.
Okay, so options. So first of all, you don't want to tell anybody anything, male or female.
No.
But I want to be able to give main options, not give you everything in the universe to overcomplicate it, like you said. Okay.
And tie them back to her concerns, at what you heard her say.
Okay. So did I hear you say, would that speak and address what you were talking about?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Number 8.
Well, women are busy, and they always want to know, how can you make my life easier? So any benefit that you can provide in your product that helps make their life easier would always be helpful to explain to them.
So I'm just trying to think of in my product land. So I have long-term care, and I want to make your life easier. So when you become older, Dr. Barb, I'm going to make sure that you can either be taken care of by your family. This policy will let your family, they'll pay your kids to take care of you. Or they'll do, you'd like a little bit more home, you really think your needs are going to be much more, you'll have to do in a facility, a nursing home facility. I might give you several options, say, which one appeals to you the most? Because you have a lot of options here. What would fit your lifestyle?
Right. Right. And, maybe she might say, I don't want to be dependent on my children. I want this, So, okay, let me show you the option that will help make your life, your desires fulfilled, and give you this option. So you're listening, you're making connections, it'll make your life easier. Even when it comes to payments, let's say if she pays this annually, how are you going to make it easy for me to remember that I need to pay this annually? How are you going to make it easy for me to make sure this policy is enforced in the long term? Make it easy for me. If it's too difficult, I may forget to make a payment, and then it'll...
Number 9, you think this would be obvious, call her by what name?
What name she selects, whatever you ask her.
So if it's Mrs. Provost, it's Mrs. Provost. If it's Mrs. whatever the name is, right?
Right.
Barbara, Barb.
Right.
Doctor, if they're credentialed in that way.
Right.
Whatever, you're looking for them to tell you.
Right. And that will tell you the level of relationship, respect, where they're at with you.
So if it's Dr. Barbara Provost, I have not gotten in very far.
That's right.
Okay. But it's Dr. Barb, so I'm in. I'll be talking to you about your situation after the show. No. And number 10?
Follow up.
Oh, I hate following up.
Follow up is the one thing that always falls off the table, right? You got the check, they signed the form.
Why is that?
It's so important because it's the after the dating thing, they want to know that you had a good time, and so it's calling them up saying, have I answered all the questions? Do you have any other needs? And that's also an excellent time to ask for a referral.
So I feel like I'm dating again. It's like I have to follow up on because whatever we experience that day before in our appointment, I hope that I answered your questions, blah, blah, blah.
Any other questions you might have? Sometimes, there's a lot that we covered. If there are any additional questions that you might have, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
One of the technologies that we're using at Brokers Alliance is a technology that we came out of Utah called send-out cards. It's huge. We're responding to our post appointments. We do it for new clients that we're prospecting. We do it for referred clients from our existing clients, and thank yous or happy birthdays or keeping in touch with a real card, not a email blast.
Right.
And we have found that to be whatever, and we've been able to do this in an economic way.
Yeah.
Not that the show send out cards today, but we're using technology, what's called high touch, high tech, where it auto plates this, and we can do this with any of our clients' databases because we believe in high touch. And now we're talking about women may think about this, maybe our dominant client base in the next 10 years. I mean, it'll be I can see it going 60-70% women over the next couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, those are big numbers, and I think it's going to be only huger, larger. I mean, when we get done at the end of the decade, even I default to some of my own street upbringing. Okay. Dr. Barb, I so appreciate you coming on our show. You've enlightened me.
Yeah.
I'm a better, happier guy for it. I guess I'm thinking pretty good about this. Remember, you can contact us. If you want to get to Dr. Barb, just write me, thebiz@brokersalliance.com. I'll make sure she gets the email. You can call us, 1-800-290-7226, extension 147, or hop onto our website. See all our shows, www.brokersalliance.com. I'm Steve Savant. You've been listening to the Insurance Business Zone. That's the buzz on the biz. Get into the zone. The Insurance Business Zone.
This has been a Bravo video event of the National Insurance Clearinghouse and Brokers Alliance, one of the largest distributors of insurance products and services to a nationwide network of insurance professionals. You can contact Brokers Alliance at brokersalliance.com or 1-800-290-7226, extension 147.